Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Stars today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back to another Monday and another edition of Newhouse Afternoon. I'm Dylan Beyer here with Alex Pohl, and we have a lot of exciting news to talk about when we're talking about Syracuse sports, whether that's from the administrative level all the way down to the teams. But the biggest news that everyone is talking about today is the report. Nothing's been official yet. I want to make that very clear. It's just a report that Jerry McNamara is coming to be the head coach of the Syracuse men's basketball team. We've all seen it. I think there's a lot of mixed opinions from media outlets out there, but when you talk to a Syracuse basketball fan, they're very, very excited about this hire. What are your thoughts? I want to start with you first.
I mean, I'm not mad about it, but I'm not ecstatic about it. I think that he's the best option we could have gotten in the current situation Syracuse basketball is in. We talked about this last week when it was like, oh, do we think it's going to go GMac, Hodgson, then honestly, less than under 24 hours after that conversation, we knew that Hodgson was out of the conversation. So then that sort of brings Jerry McNamara to the front line. And I know what your concerns were, which I completely agreed with, is Syracuse keeps going back to the past over and over. We see it in multiple of the sports, with especially lacrosse and basketball. Felicia Leggett, Jack. You have, Jim Boeheim. After him was Autry. It's all people who are Syracuse. I think that that's what the biggest concern for Jerry McNamara is the fact that basically all of what he has learned, literally all of it, has been under Boeheim. And then he became a head coach. So he brought all his Syracuse knowledge over to Siena. It's what did he gain at Siena that he can then bring back to Syracuse. Now, not to say that an assistant coach's coaching style is going to be the same as a head coach, but if you're learning under one head coach for so long, you'll learn what parts of it you want to pick up, but he hasn't learned much from other people.
Right.
And I think he had a very, very successful career at Siena over, especially this season. I thought they were going to beat UConn. They gave UConn, I think, the biggest Duke. Sorry, I'm thinking about women's basketball. We were just talking about women's basketball a second ago. Duke, the biggest battle that they have, I think, faced almost their entire season, much better than Syracuse put up a fight against them. And that just goes into the preparation and how he was able to prepare his guys. And no one expected them to come out that strong against Duke and potentially beat them. So I think that there's a lot that he can bring back to Syracuse. It's just, would I have preferred to see maybe someone else to bring a different coaching style here? Absolutely. But it also comes down to the NIL money, how much they have in salary, if they can pay, to get someone out of their contract, which was a concern with Hodgson. There's so much money that needs to go into getting a new head coach, and that's not something that Syracuse basketball really has much of. So I think in the current climate and situation, that was sort of the best option.
It wasn't just the best option. In my mind, it was Syracuse's only option.
Because I don't know another coach that would have come.
It's not even that. When you think about it, a week or two ago, Brian Blair gets named the new AD. And it's like, okay, the transfer portal opens up April 7th. You basically have 2.5 weeks to go out and find a head coach. So it's like, how much of a head coach search could they really have done? You're also in a time where it's March Madness, so there are coaching candidates out there who aren't going to be at the teams that they're coaching in March Madness right now. But it's like, Syracuse, you're going to go into the transfer portal when it opens without a head coach, and you're just going to wait on one of the better coaches in March Madness to leave that school? No, they had to go target GMac. But this was a business decision. This was not a basketball decision, in my opinion. Brian Blair and the athletic administration was thinking, GMac not only knows Syracuse basketball, good, bad, or indifferent, but what do our donors want? And like I said to start the show, every Syracuse basketball fan out there was like, go get GMac, he's the guy. So if your donors, the ones who are going to not only pay partially for GMac's salary, but for your star player salary, are the ones who are like, we want that guy, what are you supposed to be like, no, you can keep your money, we're going to target someone else? No. And this was a very safe option. Again, in my mind, this was Syracuse's only option just because of the timeline. But to me, this really puts into question, how much power do ADs actually have in this era of college athletics? Because in my mind, this was a donor-made decision. This was not a Brian Blair-made decision. And to me, that's kind of concerning.
I think that Brian Blair had a very we also have Brian Blair didn't have much time though. Like you just said, with that timeline, there's not many other options he could have had. Like there isn't really many other decisions that could have been made, especially with him coming into this, and then also the fact that Wild Hack is currently staying on.
But here's my question.
It's not fully his decision anyway.
If GMac has no Syracuse ties, does Syracuse go for him because of the sole fact of what he did in his 2 seasons as a head coach at Siena? He was 37-30. That was his record, right? He gave Duke a run for their money in this March Madness, and the head coach of Duke said, I got out coached today. He's a great coach, but without the Syracuse ties, he's not Syracuse's guy.
Oh, absolutely not. There is no way that I think that that's what I'm going to then go back to, is the fact that Syracuse is so alumni heavy, who they've had in the past, going to the past, and I think it's time to look to the future. They didn't do that in this instance. But I think that is really going to play a part. And once GMac gets here and what happens in his first 2-3, if that season's here, if he doesn't make some sort of huge change, I not to say Syracuse basketball is done for, but this is supposed to be the perfect time for them to rebuild. It's a new chancellor, a new AD, a new head coach, a new entire coaching staff for that matter. This is their opportunity. You're never, ever going to get this type of opportunity to completely rebuild from the ground up and do what you need to do. And if Jerry McNamara does not perfectly fit into that and cannot hold that portion of his own bargain up, our chancellor's going to work as hard as he can. So's our AD. He already has a lot of plans and what he wants to do. And if GMac cannot match that and produce a basketball program within the next, honestly, 2 years, not to say Syracuse basketball is done for, but you don't have another opportunity like this to completely rebuild.
Right.
And so if they waste it on him, that's not going to be a good look.
It doesn't feel like this is a new beginning in a transformative era for Syracuse basketball. This feels like, hey, Boeheim promoted the wrong guy. Let's try again.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to call it a completely dumb or the wrong decision, because despite all that, to add on to all that we've been talking about, we've talked a lot about our concern for who stays and who leaves this team. Yeah. This entices now Kiyan Anthony to stay at Syracuse, because this is now a Melo tie. This is one of Melo's greatest teammates ever coming back to coach. How could Carmelo Anthony not want to be a part of this first-year head coaching stint of Jerry McNamara? So this was smart in terms of Kiyan Anthony and the donors. But in terms of where Jerry McNamara can take Syracuse basketball, and everyone wants it to take them back to the Final Four, back to the championship, I have not seen enough from him as a head coach to say, I know he's the guy who can do it. And all over Twitter, it's so interesting. When you hire a head coach, you usually want to see on social media their coaching accolades, their fiery moments on the sideline, their players hyping the coach up. All that I saw all over Twitter yesterday was Jerry McNamara as a player at Syracuse.
Yes.
To keep it frank, and I'm truly not trying to be harsh, I do not care. I do not care what he did here as a player. player, because that is not going to fully translate into what he is as a coach.
Absolutely not.
So I think this is, again, another one of my concerns is, great, he was a great player, but that's not why he's a coach here. Why is no one talking about what he's done at Siena? Because he hasn't done that much or enough, in my opinion. This whole thing, I understand why the move was made. I understand that it came at a very rushed time. It's not my favorite, but hopefully I can eat my words and I will be proved very wrong next season.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. I think that it's the best option and only option in the current situation. You hold on to those donors, especially with their season, the season ticket holders, those sales completely declining every single year. It's getting worse and worse. And that brings them a lot of money. So those season ticket holders are now going to be so excited. Like you just said, they're reposting Jerry McNamara's all his accomplishments when he was a player. These people are going to be very excited to see him back in the dome, back home. So they're all going to keep coming back. And you have the players who are going to look to see him as a head coach. I think that it is going to hold on to a significant amount of the players that we were concerned about. But I don't think he fits into the rebuild. When we're thinking of an entire rebuild, he's from the past. There's not much he gave Duke a run for the money.
Yeah.
He outcoached Duke. It's just not enough yet to say that he's someone who can bring them to the Final Four, to a national championship caliber program. Could he get there? Maybe. But just because he's a great player doesn't mean he's the best coach in this situation.
Yes. And we've talked a lot about, we haven't used the term stakeholders, but a lot of these people that we are discussing are stakeholders. And one that you just mentioned are the players. And it goes into this interesting conversation of, do players really care about who they play for anymore, right? People went to Alabama football because I want to be coached by Nick Saban. People went to Michigan State, I want to be coached by Tom Izzo, Auburn, Bruce Pearl. Like, you had these coaches who I want to go play for them. Is anyone going to come to Syracuse because they want to play for Jerry McNamara? In this era of NIL, I'm going to this school because they're paying me X amount of dollars. Yes. And again, business decision, donors will donate now, but I don't see this as a sustainable thing, right? Because in my mind, if GMac doesn't make March Madness next year, donors are like, well, what are we doing? He can't get players, he can't get us into March Madness. It's not going to be a one and done type situation, but Syracuse basketball fans are so hungry for March Madness and for a winning season, a push in the ACC tournament, that if he doesn't make it there, I think you will see a depletion, and you'll hear that hot topic of conversation of, did they really hire the right guy?
And I think on top of it, there's going to be more pressure for him to make it. So if we had chosen a completely different head coach who had no ties to Syracuse, they can then sort of, not an excuse, but use the reality of the situation of new chancellor, new AD, new head coach, brand new program, brand new players. Even if we ended up losing Keon Anthony and some of those top guys, then that would give that coach, a good, I'd say 2 years, 2 seasons, maybe 3, to get them to the tournament without anyone questioning their ability to be a head coach and to build a program, because they're building it completely from scratch and making it their own. Just like Fran Brown is making a new program, that coach would then have the opportunity, would have the grace from everyone of, hey, we're going to give you time, but you got to get it done in a certain amount of time, but we'll give you the opportunity to build the program that you want to build. Jerry McNamara does not have that.
Right.
There is significantly more pressure with him being the head coach, with all of his ties to Syracuse, with everyone being like, oh my gosh, he's going to be our savior. He knows what Syracuse basketball is all about. He was there when they won that championship. Like, he's our guy, he's our guy. Well, he's a coach now, not a player. And he's going to have that rebuild, but I don't think he's going to get the same grace and opportunity to do so, which is something he might have, not only wanted, but needed.
You're right. And you mentioned Fran Brown. They went completely down to Georgia to grab Fran Brown. You see his ties to Camden, New Jersey. You see his ties to the SEC. You've seen the type of caliber players that he's brought to that football team. With GMac, you're just bringing someone from the area. So when you talk about recruiting, which has become a huge part of college athletics now, what really can he do? I think in his first year it will be interesting. I'm very interested actually to see if any Siena players transfer, because I think he's built a great relationship with them. And hey, any team that almost beats Duke, I want those guys on my team. I think once the transfer portal opens April 7th, it will be very interesting to see who wants to come play for Syracuse basketball, but then who's currently on this team has some concerns as us and hits that transfer portal. A lot to talk about there. A lot of what ifs that will only be answered in the coming weeks.
He's not officially
correct
head coach yet.
We're talking about this. Things could change. No contract has been signed, so we will see. But it's not just men's basketball that has a lot at stake. Tonight, women's basketball plays number 1 UConn. We'll talk about that matchup right when we come back.
Syracuse University is on the search.
When Fran Brown came, so many players not only went from Georgia to come here, but other players, like, he was such a strong recruiter. Not to say GMac isn't, but he's not recruiting to Georgia football. He's recruiting to Siena basketball.
Right. When you've
like,
only
even if those Siena players then follow him over, they're not. Well, I was gonna say they're not Duke players, they're not UConn players, but they're not. They're not all these other top teams. And so, not to dismiss those players because they played against, they played Duke significantly better than Syracuse did, and a lot of the other ACC teams, they're the number 1 seed. But you have to remember, they're not those crazy top players. So, I think a few of them might transfer over, and he might bring some of them with him. But what else is he going to bring?
And listen, I think that his performance against Duke was so big because it put his name on the map as a head coach, because other players saw what a GMac head coach team could have almost done to Duke. So I think there are players out there in Big Ten, in ACC, in the SEC who are looking at GMac and they're like, okay, wait, like, this guy's team almost upset Duke. Like, maybe I do want to go play for him.
I mean, they even said he outcoached them.
Right. But now GMac is back associated with Syracuse basketball, which has only been painted in this negative light by the media. So now it's, if I'm a player entering the transfer portal, okay, maybe I want to play for GMac, but do I want to be playing for Syracuse basketball?
Yeah, it's hard to get players to come up. I mean, you're in the freezing cold weather, snow. They don't have as much support around them as other programs do. So
you gotta get back there. Hopefully they will get back there to a point where coming to Syracuse is just, you see that Syracuse icon on every 5 stars, like, where am I signing? And Syracuse is just always that logo there. We will see. It's very interesting. I'm very, very excited for that transfer portal to open. But in more exciting, better news, Syracuse women's basketball and March Madness. I watched that game in its entirety. I didn't care what men's games were on. I sat down, I put that game on TV, and let me tell you something. I was not kidding about that Uche Crooks matchup. That was truly a great matchup.
It was.
But March Madness, man, has just been, in both the men's and the women's, more the men's just because I've seen more of the entirety of the men's March Madness. Yes, there was that Kentucky buzzer beater, obviously St. John's last night. I'm not really getting that March Madness, like, whoa, like, oh my God, there's been no true Cinderella. Like, it's just me. And I feel like it was this way last year. Like, and this, again, ties into NIL. Like, the more power, the more money you have, the more you can pay star players to create these teams that will just steamroll everybody. But it's like, when are we going to have the conversation of if NIL is ruining March Madness?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm excited to see how Syracuse does against UConn, but that's also
excited.
Interested.
Hey, I don't know, man. Doesn't make me. Yeah, you look for the spread for tonight's game. ESPN is giving Syracuse a 1% chance to win this game. They are minus 35.5. What? I don't think I've seen a spread like that in a long time. Although I think in the South Carolina, whoever they were playing, the final score was like 104-35 or something. They were 54.5 point favorites, which is just crazy.
Oh my gosh, I keep spelling availability.
Watch live on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Welcome back, everyone. It looks like the sun is maybe trying to peek through, but probably.
No, it is right there.
Yeah, but we probably will never see it until we're gone and graduated. But it is still March, and another week to talk about a Syracuse basketball team in March Madness, because Syracuse women's basketball crushed Iowa State on Saturday. You know, we said who's going to stop Crooks. No one really stopped her. She had 37 points. She was playing great on both sides of the ball. But it was more Syracuse as a team that stepped up, because aside from Crooks, none of Iowa State starters were really doing much. Yeah. But when you look at what Syracuse did, I mean, we asked who was going to step up in Dominique Darius's absence. And let me just say, Olivia Schmidt, 18 points. Yeah. 4 threes in the second half. She's not just a TikToker, everyone. She truly stepped up. And then Journey Thompson, someone who I don't think anyone mentioned this season, had 13 rebounds. And we emphasized last week that Syracuse had to win the rebound battle against this Iowa State team, and that is exactly what they did. Uche Izije, 23 points. Syracuse as a whole had a 30-point second quarter compared to Iowa State's 12. This was just all Syracuse. Doesn't matter if they were number 9 seed going up against the number 8 seed. Truly, they deserve that win. They fought hard for it. Now, tonight at 6 p.m., not only is the game at UConn, they are playing UConn. The number 1 team in the nation, undefeated, 35-0, 16-0 at home. You have AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong, KK. This is David and Goliath. Like you can put as much, like I was saying in the break, ESPN is giving Syracuse a 1% chance to win this game. Rightfully so, because UConn is just, they are number 1 for a reason. They are the best team in the nation. So what does Syracuse have to do to truly make this a Cinderella story in March?
I think that, especially when you're going to a game like this, where you're given a 1% chance of winning this game, you absolutely just leave it all out on the court. Because I think that's what matters at the end of the day. If you're a team that is a significant underdog playing against a number 1 team, you're not given much of it. It's just, you're not expected to win. You're not expected to do much with it. You have to do all that you can. I think every player needs to step up. Even if they think in their own mind, like, hey, we're going to lose, then make it the smallest gap possible. Don't make it a 30-point loss, make it a 10-point loss. Play the best game of basketball that you have, especially this is March. It's your one and done. When you lose, this is the last opportunity you have all together to play as a team. We don't know who might transfer next season. There are people graduating. There's going to be new freshmen incoming. There's going to be transfers. There is so much change now in college athletics, especially in basketball. No 2 rosters look the same from year to year. So this is the last opportunity these women have to play together as a team. And I think that should just tell them, like, they've made it this far. They're a good enough team to be then seeded against UConn. They have this opportunity. Make the most of it. Do what Sienna did against Duke. Outplay them and do all that you can. Win or lose, this is your last opportunity. So it's a matter of leaving everything out on the court. And I think Uche Izije fully outplayed Audi Crooks last
100%.
game. She did phenomenal. Uche was shooting from so far out multiple times because she wasn't being pressured out there. Aria Crooks was waiting for her to come on in, and she was just hitting her shots. And you also had Layla Filia, who I mentioned last week, who I was like, that's someone that I think will be the person to sort of not completely fill the gap that was missing from Dominique Darius, but sustain part of it. And she did exactly that. She played phenomenal. And then Olivia Schmidt, like we mentioned, at 5'5", and was able to show up the way that she did. So if all of these women are able to just step onto the court in every minute that they have, whether you have 4 minutes on the court, 30 minutes, 40, whatever it is that you have, use every last second of it to play your heart out and see what happens. They have nothing to lose, because if they don't play that way, they're going home anyway.
Right.
So you might as well do all that you can.
And everyone will turn and say, well, it's UConn. This is a UConn team that is elite on both ends. They average 88 points per game, and they only allow 50 points per game. That's the top offense and the best defense. Round one, they beat UTSA 90-52. They forced 27 turnovers. So if you're Syracuse, it's like you said, it's, you know, we can mention that Syracuse has to control turnovers, slow the tempo, all this stuff. But when you're facing UConn, it really just is about giving it your all. Like, it's truly as simple as that, because we know what this Syracuse team is capable of. They didn't just show you last round. They've shown you all season what this team could be. Yes, I think in this game, it will be more evident the loss of Dominique Darius, because I don't know how sustainable Olivia Schmidt can be, because she's coming off the bench and she hasn't shown you what she did in the first round all season. I still believe in her. I think she's a very skilled player. I just don't know how sustainable this is against this type of defense. So if I'm Syracuse, it's just as you said, we're supposed to lose this game, but let's give it our all, and let's show everyone why we're not supposed to lose this game. Now, when we get into the actual, okay, what keys does Syracuse actually need to do? They do have to slow the tempo, right? UConn is going to start hot. They're going to have these huge momentum bursts, especially right before the half and right coming out of the half. So Syracuse needs half-court offense, and they need long possessions. They truly need to control the clock. And now, let's just say Olivia Schmidt can do what she did. That 3-point variance is going to be the upset factor in this game, because UConn had every one of their
really shining now.
Yeah, thank God. I mean, maybe not for your eyes right now, but they, you know, UConn has shooters at every position on this team. So if I'm Syracuse, I'm really leaning into, okay, Olivia Schmidt, if you're on this streak, let's keep it going. I'm giving Syracuse more than a 1% shot. I'm not giving them a 50-50 shot, but it's my belief that, you know what, if they're going to die, at least die trying.
Absolutely. And I think that, especially if they take care of rebounds, that's going to be massive, because you mentioned taking care of the clock, making sure that you're taking your time on each possession, but also giving yourself another shot or keeping UConn from another opportunity is going to be huge for this team. When they played against Iowa State in this past game, they, in the first 3 quarters at least, they gave up 0 second chance points. Give up
huge.
0. That is huge. Making sure that you're getting those rebounds on defense, but then also on the offensive side, they had multiple second chance points and also points off of turnovers. So they're great in that transition, but especially it's a very different team, like you mentioned, against UConn. It's not going to be the same type of transition offense compared to against Iowa, but knowing when to take those opportunities and when to slow down, settle the ball, and move it around is going to be, I think, a game changer in how big the deficit loss might end up being.
So we will see what happens tonight at 6 p.m. Definitely will be tuning in and hoping for the best. Well, the best is happening for Syracuse men's and women's lacrosse. We will talk about these teams' hot streaks right when we come back.
This is Orange Nation.
I'm not even going to make mention of it. I'm just going to keep going.
Just not acknowledging them.
Oh, yes, Syracuse lacrosse. Everybody is excited. You want to start with men's or women's?
Let's go women's.
Let's start with the females. All right.
I feel like we don't give them enough time.
You know, does anybody ever give women's sports enough time? No. They don't. Okay. I'm so happy the sun is out.
Same.
It's gonna go away in like any second.
Don't be so negative.
I
not appreciating the negativity.
I try not to be. Listen. Are you a glass half full or glass half empty? If there was a glass of water in front of you.
No, I know what the analogy is. I've heard it before.
Explaining for the dead air that we have.
I don't think that I'm like, are those my only two options?
Well, there's a third that I have, but
I was going to say,
not.
I was like.
Mine is, because obviously it's like, are you a pessimist or an optimist? Mine is.
There's just water in the glass.
There's a cup of water in the glass. It's a realist.
Yeah.
Just half a cup of water. It's not half, it's not full, it's just there. Neutral, you know what I'm saying? It's the best way. And no one can prove you wrong. Because there's always a debate. Is it full? It's just like, it's water.
It's just there.
Is water wet?
Oh my gosh, I'm not doing this.
No, genuinely. This was a thing when we were in like middle school. There was like a nationwide debate, I want to say, is water wet? Or is it simply are things wet when
like,
water gets on it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, does water make things wet, or is water itself wet?
Yes. I don't remember what I said, but I think either thing is just stupid.
Yeah, that's why you're like, when you ask that question, that's why like, I'm not doing this.
I think water, if things are wet and they were dry to begin with before putting water on it, water in itself has to be wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think water is wet.
So water's wet. Okay, good. We settled that debate.
Okay.
I'm
and then
glad.
The whole thing of like the dress.
The dress.
Is it white and gold, or is it blue and black?
It was blue and black.
No, oh my God.
Wait, no. Alex, now you're gonna make me pull up a photo. Blue and black.
It's literally, no, it's a whole matter of color theory, which I've actually looked into a lot recently. I think just like TikTok.
Oh yeah, because of the light. This light thing. See, when it's in the sunlight, it looks more gold.
It's gold and white.
But the actual dress was blue and black.
No, it's not.
No, you see what it's doing? It's putting more light on it. The actual...
Exactly. It's color theory. It's depending on the lighting. It makes it look a certain way, but the dress itself was actually white
blue.
And gold.
It's right here.
Oh my gosh.
It's right here. It's right here. It was a blue and black dress. See? Blue and black.
No. It's white and gold.
See,
it's because
you went
of the dark lighting.
You went two for two, and now you're 2 for 3.
This is supposed to be like we don't argue, like we argue about certain things. We don't really like argue about like sports stuff. We tend to like agree on certain. Yet this is what you're coming at me with, is the blue and black over white and gold. It's because of the lighting that's dark that's making it look like it could be black. No,
opposite.
Good. Favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on QSportsTalk.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today, broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
Well, during the break, you missed that water is wet.
Yes.
You missed that the glass is not half full or half empty. It's just a glass with water. And the infamous photo of a dress being blue or black or gold,
white and gold.
And white and gold is still up for debate. So feel free to look up that photo and leave your comments. But one thing that is not debatable is this Syracuse women's lacrosse team just winning 7 straight and looking like the #1 team in the nation, even though they are not ranked #1. Last week we were talking about Yale coming into the Dome, scary Yale. Well, the women's team took care of them 6-5, and then they beat Virginia 6-5 again on Saturday.
It's their lucky bet.
Right?
Actually, we won our club lacrosse game 6-5 yesterday.
Look at that.
First game.
6-5 in women's lacrosse is the lucky number. Who'd you guys play yesterday?
We played Cornell, Vermont, and Binghamton. So 3 games.
Look at that. Did you go 3-0?
We did not.
All right. Well, they won 1, so that's really all that matters. What did you see out of these 2 games, or if you want to talk about Yale or you want to talk about the Virginia game, what did you see from this women's lacrosse team that finally it's not just, oh, they're on this lucky streak of 4 or 5 games. Like, this is just who the Syracuse team is?
I'm going to kind of switch it around a little bit. The draw control is still scaring me.
Okay.
Because when they played against Yale, I was at that game, watched the whole thing. It was great to see Paris. A friend of ours we went to high school with played in that game. That is something that just was sticking out to me. So I did sit in the Yale section. Won't lie. I sat there.
Ooh.
And so when the game was going on, Syracuse was up, but then Yale was coming back. Like, they were crawling their way back. I mean, like you mentioned, the final score was 6-5.
Right.
Yale had a certain point in time where they were dominating that field, and it was coming from the draw controls. And so I was getting a little like upset in the terms of whenever Yale is up by a lot, or if they're down by too much, or it's not like a winnable game, or they're winning by enough that there isn't, you know, or if they're really just more comes of when they struggle on draw controls. When they play a team that forces them to struggle, they put Paris in at the draw control. In this game, there was no struggle for this Yale team on the draw controls at all. They were just absolutely dominating Syracuse, and that is not something you want to see. I mean, from the start, even in the first quarter, Yale had 5 draw controls, Syracuse had 1. Syracuse obviously still won the game, still winning. That is not something you want to see at all. And when you're going to continue, obviously Yale's a ranked opponent, high-ranked opponent, but you're going to continue to go on. And if you want to be a team that makes it through the tournament, makes it to championship weekend, even making it to that potential Final Four, you are not going to do that if you cannot maintain possession of the ball. That is not going to happen. It's honestly what my team struggled with yesterday. It doesn't matter if you cannot get that ball back after you score, if you're trying to win the game or if you're trying to close a gap, it's impossible to do without draw controls. And then free position shots. 1 for 6. Like, these are opportunities, like, I don't want to talk on Syracuse women's lacrosse. I am so excited for them. I have been going to almost every single home game except for 1, and I'm going to be covering the game this weekend. And I'm going to go to the one this week. So I'm very excited for this team. I absolutely love them, love watching them play, love how hyped the sideline gets. But in opportunities where it's something that's 50-50 or that you actually have the leg up in, like a free position, you can't be going 1 for 6 on free positions and not being able to figure out who is going to be your draw controller that will be able to take over.
Right, and when you talk about free position shots, yes, they won this game 6-5, but they could have easily won this game, 8-5, 9-5. And looking at their schedule ahead, they have 1 more game tomorrow versus UAlbany, and then you get into ACC play. Those free position shots are just not something they can afford to go 1-6 or, you know, not take advantage of, especially in these upcoming games. So when you look at their upcoming games after Albany, they have Pitt, Cornell, Duke, Notre Dame, and BC, and everyone but Cornell is a ranked opponent. And I know for weeks, Alex and I have ingrained into your brains that the rankings do not matter.
Yes.
But next week, the calendar is going to flip to April, and all of a sudden, those rankings do matter. So big picture here, looking past Albany, let's just write that off as a win. Not that I'm saying they're going to win. Let's just say they win.
We'll take that one.
Realistically, what do you see this team going? What's their record in the ACC play?
I think that when it comes down to Duke, I see that as a winnable game. I think Duke is definitely a team that they could take. Cornell, we're going to take that one as a win. Pitt this week, that I see again also as a win. What concerns me is Notre Dame BC. I think BC has just been their kryptonite since our freshman season.
Yeah.
Our freshman year, Syracuse was undefeated. They were like the only undefeated women's lacrosse team in the nation. They were ranked number 1. They played against BC at home in the soccer stadium. They were killing them at halftime. I left the game. I was like, look at us go. BC came back and beat us. And then for the past years to come after that, they have destroyed our program. That is going to be a very tough opponent for them, especially if you're going to look at draw controls and free position shots. They have Shea Dolce goal. I'm going to say number 1 goalie in the nation. Mm-hmm. Number 1 female goalie in the nation. She has been a starter and a dominant player, ranked All-American since freshman year, and she has just gotten stronger, and she is someone who I think is going to pose a massive threat to Syracuse. Not only is the BC team just dominant overall and a strong program, but when it comes down to them having an amazing goalie like that, Syracuse is going to have a very hard time staying in that game, and that concerns me a lot with BC.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens against Albany, because they haven't won that game, even though we said that probably could write that off as a W. But flipping it over to the men's side now. They demolished Georgetown yesterday, finally at the Dome, 18-2. Now they get into ACC play. And this is where I think it gets really interesting. So Saturday, they have a huge game against Duke. The rankings came out this morning. Syracuse is number 5. Duke is now number 6. But I'm not giving Duke that much credit, because you look at a number 6 team and you're like, that team must be pretty good, right? I looked at Duke's schedule. I'm not really impressed. You know, I might be botching this name, but Bellarmine, Utah, Vermont, Jacksonville, St. Joe's, Air Force, Providence, Denver. It's like, okay, Denver, it's a good win. Air Force, St. Joe's, maybe not. Everyone else, it's like, okay, yeah, you crushed those teams. I think that you're supposed to. I think this is more of a game for Syracuse to expose Duke. It's like, hey, this team actually isn't supposed to be ranked right behind us. They haven't really played anybody, and now they're going to play us. So if I'm Syracuse, this is, again, another enticing thing to be like, we have to start hot. And did they start hot against Georgetown? Yes and no. They were down 2-0, and then they just came back and killed Georgetown, quite literally. But then they still finished slow, which is something that it's still my consistency problem with this team.
And they've been finishing slow in multiple games.
Yeah,
like, they're getting outscored in the fourth quarter.
And I'm not saying it's an offensive issue, because they're still scoring, and I'm not saying it's a Jimmy McCool issue, because he had a great game yesterday. It's just like the energy where you would expect it to stay consistent and maybe even go up to secure the win. Defensively, it just depletes a little bit, and you're like, what? Just like keep going for 5 more minutes of the game. Just like give it your all. And it just like something happens, and I can't pinpoint exactly what happens, because they don't look different when they step on the field for the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game. But something happens, and then all of a sudden, I'm not going to say it was a nail biter at the end, but it's like the fact that this score ended 18-12 when it really realistically should have maybe ended 18-8 or 18-7.
Absolutely.
I'm just still like, I don't know. You just can't take your time trying to find your groove at the beginning of and the end of the games when you're going up against ACC opponents now.
Absolutely. And it comes down to that this sport is a game of runs. You said that from the start. Mm-hmm. You can ask anyone. It's a game of runs. So when you're coming out of the gate in the third quarter, in that second half, Syracuse scored 3 goals, but then Georgetown went on a 4-goal streak.
Right.
And then they scored 2 more in the last 8 minutes of the game. You can't let a team like that do that. Yes, you've in some ways believe you already won the game. Fine. But doing that just sort of depletes your team in a way, because it's like, oh, they didn't win by, if it's going to be 18-8. What about 18-12? still a huge win, but not as big as it could have been. So falling off in those last few minutes just is going to hurt the team overall. And I think that a big portion, though, of it comes also down to penalties. That is somewhere where Syracuse has such an amazing defense and a strong defense that is very, very physical. You see it from Billy Dwan, Riley Figueres, Dante Bowen. They're all very physical players. But you have to be careful towards the end of the game, because it has happened in games, especially ones that they've lost against Princeton. That game was getting very, very chippy at the end. There was a lot of emotion going on, and I get it. You're getting into these tough opponents, ranked opponents. Maybe you're losing the game. Maybe it's a close game. But you also have to understand that what you do will affect everyone else and will affect your team. It can cause a win or a loss, how you maintain your composure in certain situations. Yes, you need to be aggressive. You want to get out there. You want to be physical. But you sort of have to keep that in the back of your mind, because, you know, Georgetown had 2 penalties all game. Syracuse had 6. And all 6 of them came in the second half of the game. It was cross-checks, unsportsmanlike, multiple illegal body checks, interference, pushing. Those are things you can control. And especially in a game that you are winning, to have that many penalties called on you and be man down, that's exactly how teams like even Georgetown was able to then take advantage of those opportunities. They have a phenomenal man down unit, but that's not going to hold up against even better programs, like you mentioned, when you get into this ACC play. And though you do have a great man down unit, you shouldn't have to use them if you don't make these mistakes.
Right. Well, less physicality needed for the Syracuse men's lacrosse team, and less physicality needed in football. We will talk about, when we come back, the Flag Football Classic. I'm sure all of you have no idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, exactly. We'll be right back.
Check out Mike Bristol's
Oh, yeah. Flag Football Classic. There's nothing classic about this.
But
we'll
get into it.
Save it.
We'll get into it.
Save it.
The deep breath.
I have to take a deep breath for this one.
Also, Paul said that we're definitely the best at making breaks entertaining, and I would have to agree with that.
Thank you.
I have to agree with you, Paul.
Thank you. There's just because I feel like, I'm not making this a woman versus men thing, but like when men go on breaks, they like still are like debating and deep talk, and it's like, actually, like, let's just take a break and just like talk about real things. Obviously,
like if water's wet,
it's a real conversation that
in this world
needed to be had. I'm just saying.
Let's see where we're at in this vote over here.
I think it's 100%.
No, absolutely not.
I can't see it.
Let me see if I can open it. I saw it before. Is it not still there? Is it gone? If you're watching on Twitch, put a vote there. Do you agree with Dylan or myself, or do you just not care?
Go ahead and look up the photo for yourself and insert your own opinion on this.
Yes, your own opinion that Dylan is like, agree with me. It's blue and black. The results. Results are in. No! Yay! There's no way.
Thank you. 100% black and blue.
Okay, how many people voted? 1.
But it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It legitimately was not me.
Your father.
I swear.
What's his username?
My dad wouldn't even know how to do that. He wouldn't even know how to do that.
He comments. It's the same thing. You click one button instead of multiple.
I don't know. He actually just... Oh my God, you're putting me on. No, I think he's 57 or 58. Let me tell you something. And he's listening right now. He just got Instagram for the first time ever.
Okay.
Discovered Reels, guys. It's really bad. It's not good.
Oh gosh.
It's
yeah, neither of my parents do social media at all. Neither of them.
My mom really likes Instagram Reels.
I was gonna say your mom has an Instagram.
Oh yeah. Love you guys.
Neither my parents do social media. No Instagram, no TikTok, Snapchat, anything.
Oh, look, Ryan Mullen in our comments. I voted. Thank you, Ryan. You looked at the photo and you logically saw black and blue, and you didn't let the sun influence your decisions. Thank you. Yeah.
Terrible. Terrible.
Maybe we should, for next week, I should come up with more controversially talked about
topics.
Yeah, like non-sport or even sport.
We did that was it last fall? Yeah, last fall when I was with Drew and Milo. We'd for our final segment, I would bring to the table controversial things within sports.
We could do that.
And they would argue about it. It was actually very entertaining because they had for certain things the same teams, but for most of the time they didn't. But they very much rival teams, or I'd ask stuff about certain players on the team. It was honestly really entertaining watching the two of them argue about it. I'd have to calm them down though and be okay, next topic, let's keep moving. But it's entertaining, that's for sure.
I know. Well, this isn't a debate because a lot of people actually agree with it, but the Brooklyn Nets should go back to Jersey because when the Knicks played the Nets this past weekend, it was, even though it was at Brooklyn, it was a Knicks crowd. It
Correct.
Sounded like it was a home game. And it's who out there openly admits that they're a Brooklyn Nets fan? I mean, there was a time where you had KD, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden all on the same team, and the Knicks were still outselling and outperforming.
97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSports.com. Tomorrow's broadcasting stars today. Broadcasting live from the campus of Syracuse University. This is Newhouse Afternoon.
All right, I'm Dylan Beyer here with Alex Pohl for the last couple minutes. If you didn't know, which you probably didn't, something happened this weekend. Huge football news. No, I know, it's not huge football news.
Okay.
The Flag Football Classic took place, and I have to read this because I truly don't know. The USA flag football team won, and participants included NFL stars like Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. Yeah. So the purpose of this, right? Why did they play a flag football game with all these big names? The purpose of this was to highlight flag football as a sport, which is going to make its Olympic debut in 2028. All for flag football being in the Olympics. I love it. But to air this on Fox and to try to make this a thing, to quote Mean Girls, it's never going to be a thing. It's not going to be a thing. And then you tried to involve Logan Paul in it, who's just I hate Logan Paul. And what does he have to do with NFL? He was just there for prime and marketing and stuff. But it's I think the NFL has to understand their audience. And when you look at what the Pro Bowl did with their viewership, I think it was 5 or 7 million people watched the NFL Pro Bowl.
That's a very different thing.
No, but my point is that if you're not playing an NFL game, no one cares about football. The XFL didn't survive. The UFL is not going to survive no matter how hard they try. And this, even if it's to showcase what's coming in the Olympics, who cares about a flag football classic?
So, okay, I don't think that it's they're trying to make it become a thing.
No,
in terms
but they're putting it in high schools though. Flag football is an emerging sport. Also, can I just add, it's an emerging sport on the women's side because women are not allowed to play tackle football. So then you're gonna air.
So when I was in California over spring break, we went to get pizza one night, and the entire area was filled. I'd say easily over 60 young girls in flag football outfits. And it was all these little boys running around, but they were in sweatpants. They weren't playing. It was all the girls. And it was the coolest thing to see. And I love it. But I mean, in terms of them not making it a thing of pro versus flag football, but I think needed to happen.
I don't.
And the reason I say it, I don't think it needed to be this huge Fox Sports streamed thing. I think it needed to happen for the fact of Team USA flag football is going to compete in the Olympics. It's happening.
But Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski aren't.
They aren't. But a lot of people have said multiple times, there's been multiple debates of, should it be an entire NFL roster that NFL players will do significantly better than the flag football players? The USA already has a flag football team. They chose NFL, people chose flag football, whatever. But it has been said multiple times that it should be made up of all NFL players because they're better football players. Well, this just proves that it's a completely different game because Team USA flag football beat Joe Burrow's team 24-14 and then destroyed Tom Brady's team 43-16. Yes, they are old players like Tom Brady and Gronkowski who are retired, but it still goes to show that just because they were in the NFL or are in the NFL doesn't mean they're better than people who legitimately play the game of flag football.
Yeah, it's a completely new game. I read an article that said that apparently they had to stop the game multiple times because the rules are so different and they only had a couple practices. It just seems like this huge marketing stunt that failed. Because at the end of the day,
I don't disagree
you brought in Logan Paul, you brought in Tom Brady because they made this whole Tom Brady unretired tour. Shut up. Like, I'm sorry. Like, no one cares about flag football. And if you're going to showcase flag football, at least showcase it on the women's side because that is who this sport, in my opinion, is intended for. Unless you're 3 or 4 years old and you're playing flag football to introduce you to the sport of tackle football as a man, flag football is so predominant right now because high schools are implementing it because it's the only sport where if you're a girl, to play football. The Flag Football Classic should have been a one-and-done thing. I can't wait to see what they do in the Olympics, but no more of this. And while you're at it, get rid of the UFL, XFL, and the NFL Pro Bowl. Okay, I've said what I've had to say. Have you said what you've had to say for today?
I think that matters in terms of timing.
All right. Well, we will see you next week. Hopefully, we will be talking about a lot more Syracuse wins across all sports. For now, I'm Dylan Beyer with Alex Pohl. We'll see you next week.
This is Orange Nation.
We talked about this yesterday, Brian. The change can be unsettling at times. You know, you're here as a new AD. You're soon to have a new men's basketball coach, and that can be unsettling for fans. Just your thoughts and your message to all of Orange Nation today.
I'm so ecstatic to be a part of this. I've got lofty goals for this program, some that I voiced, some that I'm keeping internal, but I'm aiming really, really high on what we can do and how we can be positioned nationally.
Orange Nation, noon to 2. ESPN Radio 97.7 and 100.1.
Impressive from all angles, the exterior of the 2026 BMW X330 xDrive exudes presence and power. Expansive surfaces and dramatic curves combine to form its monolithic proportions. From the formidable front end to the imposing rear, lease the new 2026 BMW X330 xDrive at Burdick BMW for only $569 per month for 39 months with $5169 due at signing. Cash down includes $3675 down payment, $569 first month's payment, $925 acquisition fee, and 0 security deposit. Not all customers qualify for